The story of Hyundai. From a small garage to a global car empire. Imagine a man who grew up in extreme poverty, a man who worked as a rice delivery boy, a mechanic, and a construction laborer. He had no money, no powerful connections, no guarantee of success. But he had something stronger than all of this, an unstoppable belief. That man eventually built one of the largest automobile companies in the world. Today, millions of people drive cars made by Hyundai Motor Company. But the journey from poverty to a global automobile empire was not easy. This is the inspiring story of Hyundai. Before the massive factories, before millions of cars filled the roads, before the world even recognized the name Hyundai, there was a poor boy with a dream. His name was Chung Ju Young. He was born in 1915 in a small farming village in South Korea. His family was extremely poor. Life was not about comfort or opportunity, it was about survival. Every day, his parents worked tirelessly in the fields, from sunrise to sunset. They struggled just to produce enough food for the family. As a young boy, Chung Ju Eng watched his parents work endlessly. He saw their exhaustion, he saw their worries, and deep inside he felt something powerful. He didn't want this life forever. He respected his parents, but he knew he wanted something different, something bigger. But dreaming is easy, reality was harsh. His family could barely afford basic necessities. Education was limited, opportunities were almost non existent. Yet, the young boy refused to accept the idea that his future was already decided. At the age of 16, he made a bold decision. He ran away from home. Not because he didn't love his family, but because he believed his life could become more. He traveled to the city in search of opportunity. But the city was not waiting for him with open arms. Instead, he offered struggle. He worked as a delivery boy in a rice shop. He worked as a laborer. He worked as a mechanic. Every job was exhausting. Every day was uncertain. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes he lost jobs. Sometimes he had to start again from nothing. But each failure taught him something valuable. He learned how business work. He learned how people think. He learned how machines function. And most importantly, he learned the value of persistence. Many people in his situation would have accepted their life, their fate, but Chung Ju Eng was different. He believed that success was not reversed for the lucky. He belonged to those who refused to quit, and that belief would one day change the world. After years of struggle, experience, and learning from life, Chung Ju Eng finally decided to start his own company. In 1947, he founded a small construction company. He named it Hyundai. The word Hyundai means modern times. It represented progress. It represented a new future. But in the beginning, the company was extremely small. It had limited resources, limited workers, limited equipment. There were no massive projects, only small repair jobs and construction work. But Chung Ju Eng believed something important. Great empires are not built overnight, they are built brick by brick, step by step. During this time, Korea was recovering from war and destruction. The country needed rebuilding, roads needed construction, bridges needed repair, cities needed infrastructure. For Hyundai, this was an opportunity. The company began accepting government construction projects, and slowly things began to change. Hyundai started building roads, then bridges, then larger infrastructure projects. The company's reputation began growing. People noticed something different about Chung Ju Eng. He was not afraid of challenges. In fact, he welcomed them. If a project seemed difficult, he would still accept it because he believed difficulty creates opportunity. Over time, Hyundai grew from a small construction company into one of the most important construction firms in Korea. But even as the company grew, Chung Ju Eng's ambition grew even bigger. Construction was only the beginning. He didn't want Hyundai to simply build the roads of Korea. He wanted Hyundai to build something that would travel on those roads, cars. And that dream would soon become reality. In the 1960s, the automobile industry was dominated by powerful companies from the United States, Europe, and Japan. Countries like Japan and United States already had strong automobile industries, but Korea had almost none. For many people, the idea that a Korean company could compete in the global automobile market seemed unrealistic, even impossible. But Chung Ju Eng didn't see impossibility, he saw opportunity. In 1967, Hyundai officially created its automobile division, Hyundai Motor Company. At that time, Hyundai lacked experience in car manufacturing, so the company partnered with Ford Motor Company. This partnership allowed Hyundai to learn modern automobile production. Hyundai began assembling cars such as the Ford Cortina. These cars were produced in Korea but designed by Ford. For Hyundai, this partnership was like a classroom. Engineers learned new technologies, workers learned modern manufacturing techniques, but Chung Ju Eng had a long term vision. He didn't want Hyundai to depend on foreign companies forever. He wanted Hyundai to create its own vehicles. Vehicles designed in Korea, built in Korea, sold around the world, and soon the dream became reality. In 1975, Hyundai produced a car that would change history. It was called the Hyundai Pony. The Pony was the first mass produced Korean car. For Korea, this was a national milestone. The car was designed with international collaboration, but its production represented something powerful. Korea had entered the global automobile industry. The Pony was simple, affordable, reliable, and that made it perfect for everyday drivers. Soon, the car became extremely popular. Hyundai began exporting the Pony to other countries. For a company that had started with almost nothing, this was a huge achievement. The success of the Pony gave Hyundai confidence to dream bigger, confidence to compete globally. But the road ahead would still be full of challenges. In 1986, Hyundai took a bold step. The company entered the competitive automobile market of the United States. The car they introduced was the Hyundai Excel. The Excel quickly became popular. Why? Because it was extremely affordable. Many American families who could not afford expensive cars suddenly had a new option. The Excel sold hundreds of thousands of units. It became one of the fastest selling cars in America. But success created new pressure. Some early Hyundai cars began experiencing quality problems. Customers started complaining, and slowly Hyundai's reputation began to suffer. For many companies, this would have been the beginning of decline, but Hyundai decided to fight back. Hyundai realized that the key to survival was trust. Customers must believe in the brand. So, Hyundai made a revolutionary decision. They introduced an industry leading 10-year warranty. At that time, no other car company offered such a long guarantee. This move shocked the automobile industry, but it sent a powerful message. Hyundai believed in the quality of its cars and it was willing to prove it. At the same time, the company invested heavily in research and development. Engineers improved technology, factories improved production standards, design teams improved the appearance and performance of cars. Slowly but surely, Hyundai's reputation began proving again. Customers started trusting the brand, and Hyundai began its transformation from a budget car maker into a global competitor. Over the next few decades, Hyundai expanded across the world. The company built factories in many countries. It created global supply chains, and its vehicles began appearing in cities across the planet. Hyundai also strengthened its partnership with Kia Corporation. Together, they became one of the largest automobile groups in the world. Hyundai invested heavily in innovation. The company began developing electric vehicles, hydrogen fuel technology, advanced safety systems, autonomous driving technology. Hyundai was no longer just a manufacturer, it was becoming a technology company, a mobility company, a global force shaping the future of transportation. One of the Hyundai's most successful markets is India. In 1996, the company established Hyundai Motor India. Soon after, Hyundai introduced a car that would become iconic, the Hyundai Santro. The Santro quickly became popular among Indian families. It was reliable, affordable, and perfect for city driving. Later, Hyundai introduced many successful models such as Hyundai Creta, Hyundai Venue, Hyundai Verna. Today, Hyundai is one of the largest automobile companies in India. The company even exports cars from India to many countries. The world is changing rapidly. The future of transportation is electric, and Hyundai is preparing for that future. The company is investing billions of dollars into electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel technology. Some of Hyundai's advanced electric cars are already gaining global attention. For example, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Hyundai's vision is clear. The company wants to lead the next generation of mobility, not just building cars, but building the future of transportation. The story of Hyundai is not just about cars, it is about determination, it is about courage, it is about a poor boy who refused to accept the limits of his circumstances. From a small construction company to one of the largest automobile infrastructures in the world, Hyundai proves something powerful. Great success does not begin with perfect conditions, it begins with belief. Unknown facts about Hyundai. Hyundai started as a construction company. Many people think Hyundai started as a car company, but that's not true. Hyundai actually began as a construction company in 1947, founded by Chung Ju Eng. Before making cars, Hyundai built highways, bridges, dams, ports. In fact, Hyundai helped rebuild South Korea after war. 2. Hyundai built one of the world's largest shipyards. Hyundai is not only famous for cars, through Hyundai Heavy Industries, the company built one of the largest shipyards in the world. This shipyard is located in Ulsan. It produces massive ships like oil tankers, cargo ships, naval vessels. Many people don't realize Hyundai is also a giant in the shipbuilding industry. 3. Hyundai once promised a car without even having a shipyard. When Hyundai decided to build ships, they had no shipyard and no experience. But founder Chung Ju-eng convinced investors by showing them a 501 Korean banknote. The banknote had a drawing of an old Korean ship. He said, "If our ancestors could build ships centuries ago, we can build them today." That confidence helped Hyundai secure funding. Soon, the company built one of the world's largest shipyards. 4. The Hyundai logo has a hidden meaning. Most people think Hyundai's logo is simply the letter H, but it actually represents two people shaking hands. The two people symbolize the company, the customer. The handshake represents trust and partnership. 5. Hyundai has its own steel company. Cars require a huge amount of steel. Instead of depending completely on other companies, Hyundai created its own steel company called Hyundai Steel. This allows Hyundai to control quality, production costs, supply chain. This strategy makes Hyundai more efficient than many competitors. 6. Hyundai once had a 10-year warranty that shocked the industry. In the late 1990s, Hyundai had a weak reputation for the quality in some markets. So the company introduced something revolutionary, a 10-year, 1 lakh mile warranty. At that time, it was one of the longest warranties in the automobile industry. This bold move rebuilt customer trust and helped Hyundai grow again. 7. Hyundai is one of the leaders in hydrogen cars. While many companies focus only on electric cars, Hyundai is also investing heavily in hydrogen technology. One example is the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle Hyundai Nexo. Hydrogen vehicles produce only water as emissions. Hyundai believes hydrogen could play a big role in the future of transportation. 8. Hyundai owns a huge robotics company. In 2021, Hyundai Motor Group acquired a major robotics company called Boston Dynamics. Boston Dynamics is famous for its advanced robots like Spot Robot. This shows Hyundai is not just a car company anymore. It is also investing in robotics and future technology. 9. Hyundai is one of the largest car manufacturers in the world. Together with Kia Corporation, Hyundai forms one of the biggest automotive groups globally. The Hyundai Motor Group consistently ranks among the top automobile manufacturers in the world. Millions of Hyundai vehicles are sold every year across dozens of countries. The story of Hyundai is more than just cars. It is about innovation, courage, and vision. From a poor farmer's son to one of the most powerful industrial empires in the world, that journey proves something powerful. Great companies are not born from comfort, they are born from bold dreams. Before we end this journey, take a moment and think about the story behind Hyundai. A company that started from almost nothing, built by a man who grew up in poverty yet had the courage to dream beyond his circumstances. That man, Chung Ju-eng, proved something powerful to the world. Success is not always about resources, sometimes it is about determination. From a small construction company to a global automobile giant that sells millions of cars across the world, the journey of Hyundai reminds us that great empires often begin with a simple idea and the courage to pursue it. And now, let me leave you with a question. If a poor farmer's son could build a global brand like Hyundai, what could you build if you truly believed in your dreams? If you enjoyed this story, Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring journeys like this. Because every great success story starts with one step, and maybe your story is the next one waiting to be told.